welcome back, witches. I have a monthly update here for you. I would like to do these every month this year because I think it will help me stay on track with my overall goals that I set for the year. If I have this place to check in, I feel like I'm more likely to do it and track what I'm doing through the month and actually achieve the things that I wanted to get done. So I did a good job of tracking this month, not necessarily doing everything perfectly that I had set out, but I've got my planners here so we can check in. And I'll do the chatty part first and then do a little flip through of my planner so you can just see what I have been tracking and how things are going and what I read. So let's get that out of the way because that was the one goal that is going well. I read 35 books in the month of January, and I have a goal to read 200 this year, so we are well on the way to that. More books than there are days. This month is already going slower. I am filming this in the morning. You were going to see it this afternoon, and I am working since February 1st on House of Flame and Shadow. I've had so many other things going on that I'm only reading 100, 200 pages a day, and it is an 830 something page book. So it's going to take me a little bit. Hopefully finish that today or tomorrow. So February is already slower in terms of number of books, but that's okay because I just got really far ahead in January. I'll do a quick flip through of my planner here so you can see the overview of what I read, but I am saving the in-depth book reviews, including the witchy books that I read, for Patreon. That's actually already up. It's been up for a couple of days. So if you're a patron, hello. That is where I do all of the in-depth book reviews to explain why I gave them the stars that I did. You'll see on the flip through, there was a witchcraft book that I only gave 1 star to, did not like it at all. So yeah, my in-depth reviews are over there if you are interested. Next up, the big task or goal, I guess, for this year was doing a no spend year. That was my plan, specifically related to books and witchcraft supplies, because those were things that I spent too much on last year, but too much in sort of a mindless way that I would go to the store and let the store dictate what I wanted or needed, and that's not a great way to shop if you are trying to keep costs down and trying to keep your house in order. So I want to be much more mindful and intentional about what I am bringing in, especially related to witchcraft supplies and books. So how did I do on that? I've got my notes here. Bills are boring. I do track them, but not including them in this. And then I counted all of skip expenses separate. If you missed the last video or the updates in January, my husband did rescue a dog at his firehouse that we got right after Christmas and nursed him back to health and found him a forever home. And that was the proceeds of my Patreon account went to pay for Skip's care, his vet bills and food and toys and a bed and all the things that you need to take care of a abandoned little pup. So Patreon paid for that. Thanks, patrons. The regular content was still there and available, but I specifically let everybody know that if you want to be a patron in January, that's where that money is going towards for skip care. So I did track it, but it's not included in this or in my no spend because that was a thanks, patrons. You're awesome. You helped save this little dog. So groceries on my list, not something that I'm specifically trying not to spend on. You have to buy groceries, you have to eat. I am trying to keep costs down, and we spent $317.20. I do all the grocery shopping for myself and John, so I am the one that keeps track of all of the expenses, and we really do keep finances separate. We were together for 10 years before we got married, and I've always been a very independent person, so we kind of have just kept our finances still separate, even though we've been married for 2 years. But that's just how I operate, and I don't judge anybody by what they do in their marriage or partnership. However you want to combine things, go for it. We just never have and have not felt a reason to. It's pretty fair how we split things up. But I usually do the grocery spending, and then he tends to spend for Amazon and bulk items. So he'll hop on Amazon and order paper towels and toilet paper, and buying in bulk, he'll go with his dad to Costco and get like laundry detergent and whatever else you buy at Costco. So that really evens out, and he usually does pay for all of the cat food. We feed 8 feral cats. It's a lot of cat food. So he usually pays for that as well. So $317 on groceries. That is a very limited amount. And I think that it is like an underestimate or like not exactly correct, because we did do a stock up like basically December 31st. I think we went to the grocery like either the 30th or the 31st. So we had a ton of stuff on hand. So they think that is like an artificially deflated number for January. But I am trying to keep costs down in that area, and we used up a lot of what we had. So we'll see how it goes in February. We do still have like a big stockpile of stuff in the freezer and everything. So we do need to, you know, work through that. So we'll be doing that in February. I'll be interested to see what our grocery bill is then. Pets I count because we have a dog that is separate from feeding the cats and from taking care of abandoned animals, and that is Hawkeye. And the only thing that I spent on her this month was $88.19 to go get groomed. And yes, that's what it costs to get a dog groomed in Chicago. I mean, tip is in there too, but still, that's what it costs. Put gas in my car for $25.33. I separated out, I don't know why I did this on the list. I separated out what I call cart restock for $22.32. I have a cart in the front. I think I have shown it on Instagram before. It's like one of those 3-tiered carts that you put out drinks and snacks for the mailmen and delivery guys. And we have a doorbell, no, not doorbell camera. We have a camera like on our front porch, and I get the best videos of the mailman and like new delivery guys. I had one yesterday that dropped off stuff that he was on the phone with somebody. He was like, oh my God, you should see this cart. I'm gonna take a picture. It's like got snacks and gum and oh my gosh, drinks too. You know, I was just talking shit about this neighborhood because like everything's under construction, which if you follow this channel, you know it's been years. There's always a new construction project, and they just parked trucks out there yesterday to do more. I was like, what else can you possibly have to do? And we have other normal city of Chicago issues. So it was really funny. He was like, oh, I was just talking shit about this neighborhood and now I feel bad. It's like, don't feel bad. We talk shit about it all the time too. But I just get like great videos of like the new mailman, new delivery drivers that are always like, oh my God, thank you. Like, so they get really excited. So I love doing the cart. My husband thought nobody was going to like it. They thought it was like, who is actually going to take stuff? But everybody who drops off a package takes like a bag of chips or a pack of gum or something. And especially in the summer, cold drinks. Yep, all the time. So $22.32 on a cart restock, and I think it's money well spent. And I picked up a dry shampoo at Ulta for $8.95. I don't know if that's not a break on my like no spend, but I'm tracking it anyway. Things that came in that I did not spend money on because I either got it as a gift or used a gift card. I got a toiletry bag, dog food, batteries, coffee, and the House of Flame and Shadow. My husband pre-ordered that for me April 20th last year. We checked. So that came in, and I got PR books for my witchcraft reading and for the people that I'm going to be interviewing and are going to be on the podcast. I get the books first, so those came in as well. So those are my 2 big goals. Another one was social media time limits. Excellent. I have only checked in on Instagram, which is the only platform I have, maybe 4 times in the month of January. It was low. So I feel good about that one, and my mental health was better, just not checking stuff. I didn't watch YouTube videos, so I feel bad that I haven't like checked in on my witchy friends on YouTube, but I needed a break in January from all things internet, so that was great. And I generally have a goal of improving diet and exercise. I did not really do that in January, to be honest with you. I restarted on February 1st, so I've been great the last 4 days, but January was not great, so we're not even checking in with that, and maybe I'll talk about that next week and do some spells related to that. Let's do the planner flip through, show you some of the stuff, and then we are going to talk no spend spells. So if you are like me and not wanting to spend money, I mean, I feel great that I didn't spend money on books or witchcraft supplies. Those were my 2 main things, so January went perfect in that regard. But if you also need help and need the motivation and boost for not spending money like that, let's talk no spend, money freeze spells. Let's talk first about this one, which is the Year of the Witch by Temperance Alden, this little like mini pocket planner, which I did not use as much as I wanted to, but I think that I just associate this one with like being on the move, and I wasn't. But It started with this Living Well New Year ritual, and it was to make a list on one side, like the things that bring you joy, and then the other side, the things that suck the joy out of you. So it's basically like the TikTok, Instagram popular in and out for 2024 list. So I wonder if this is where they got that idea. But I did do that. Here's what the month looks like. And then you can see just a couple of like the things that I filled in. So like I did the New Year calendar spell then. I marked down what I was doing on Patreon and podcasts, and then I kind of lost that. I did the spells for the patrons on the new moon there, which is something that I offer. I have a couple different tiers on Patreon. So there is a $10 tier, and each month I reach out to the people who are on that tier and ask if they would like a tarot spread or a personalized spell. And there were a couple of patrons who wanted the personalized spell, and for both of what they were doing worked out with new moon spells. And when I send them the spell, I also do it on my end on their behalf. So I was doing that on the new moon. I did both of them. One for finding a new job, and one for getting motivated for getting back into diet and exercise related health goals, which was as much for me as it was for her. We are in this together. So we did both of those on the new moon to send that energy out to them. And I put out the in bulk ebook, Bridget ebook, podcast information, other things. I did some charging of crystals and tools on the full moon because my friend Megan is coming over for spell work in February related to like love, magic, like self-love and attracting romance into her life. And she is not able to come on the moon, and that moon in particular was really good energy for that stuff. So I just charged it so it has that energy and we can use it whatever day. I did a home cleanse on this day because we had friends over to watch the Royal Rumble because we are children still watching the WWE. I am a huge CM Punk stan, so we had to watch it, and I did a home cleanse that day to get ready for that party. I pulled a tarot card to get into February, which was the Fool, which was kind of perfect because I was starting a new task in February, and I used in bulk as that time to really get started on those goals if I didn't in January, like anything that I sent as a New Year intention and didn't quite get started on, like the health and fitness. February and in bulk is when I actually will get started on those. So that is what I did on February 1st, and so that card is like a card of new beginnings, kind of perfect. And then I did my February reset, and I do a reset every month. I tend to do things on the last day of the month and the first of the month the same every single month because it's just easier to remember. Like I have a snake plant and he's fine with being watered once a month, so that's when I do it. I do it on the first of the month, and I just have a general reset to remind me to check in on wards and cleansing, see how things are feeling, set up things for the next month, and just do all of those little tasks that I might otherwise forget about. At least this way they're on a schedule, and then I know when it is the first of the month, I'm like, oh, I have to do all of these tasks. It's just a good reminder for me. And that was it. So I did not use it too much. There was this Seeds Awakening craft for in bulk and for February. I don't know what I'm going to do with our yard and garden and everything, so I did not do this because I don't know that we're going to have any seeds. But then it gets into the next month, and I have not done any checking in on here, but we're here now, so I probably will go back and fill it in, anything that I've done these past 4 days, and then see what's coming in the future. So that is one I did not check in with as much, but I hope to change that. I did, however, use the Novel Companion Ultra. This is where I did most of my checking in, so I used this one every single day. It's been very useful. So here was my overall reading log. You can kind of see what I read, some stars that I gave everything. You can see the witchcraft books that I read. Everything in blue was January, and then we are moving over to the pink color for February. Here's what it looks like just on the shelf. And then there are these various challenges and to fill in with the titles that you read. So I started filling in some of those. Again, the checking off the books, 35 in January. Here were the reading stats. So we've got 35 books in January with 14,452 pages read, 15 books, 20 ebooks, no audiobooks. I track DNFs. I just don't remember to. So I think there were probably 2 or 3 that I DNF'd, but I don't remember them. 1 star, 3 2 stars, mostly 3 stars because that's just kind of the mood I was in. Probably some of them were more or less, but that's just where I ended up. And 12 4 stars and 1 5 star. And then we will get into the actual month here. So this looks like I did read all of those 3. I have that one. This one I requested at the library. And here's what it looks like when I am tracking for the week. I will put my to-do list in this section, and then here where I have the dates, I will fill out what I was reading and how many pages of it that I read that day, so I could keep track of how many pages I read each day and then overall in January. So that's what that ended up looking like. And then the back section here is where I'm able to fully write out more information and just some like notes. So I remember what I want to talk about when I review all of these over on Patreon. And as far as tracking my expenses, I do have a spreadsheet on Google Drive that I use for that because I am terrible at math, so it's just so much easier to have that information in digital format that can do the calculations for me. And that is everything for my planner, so let's hop over to spells. All right, we've got the workings of a spell to help you attract and save your money. So what we are doing 2 sort of spells in one. We are first going to set up this candle here to attract money, specifically to pay the bills, but you can figure out your own best practice of what you want to attract. And we're going to make a little charm to carry around to attract and keep the wealth. So I have here for the first part of the spell, the green candle holder. I've got a carving instrument here because I'm going to carve a dollar sign onto here. You can carve whatever it is that you associate with money. For me, that's just the dollar sign. And I'm going to anoint this candle with the prosperity oil. Any sort of money drawing oil works. So that could just be, a straight money oil, cinnamon, peppermint, all those things work. And then I am going to place it back in this holder, put the dollar bill underneath, and then light the candle. These are extras, unnecessary, pyrite, jade, and cinnamon, just extra correspondences that are about prosperity and attracting abundance. Now that we've got that all set up, just going to light the candle and say, money to pay the bills, manifest by my will. A quick and simple spell from Llewellyn, one of the spell a day guides. And as I'm doing that, I am going to envision all of my bills being paid with a little bit left over for whatever it is that I am wanting and needing to spend for myself. And I'm going to light this today and say those words, let it burn for a little bit for the second part of the spell, which you will see. And then I am going to blow that out and relight this each day until the candle is burnt completely down. So you can do that as many days as you see fit, whether that is 3 or 7, or just until the candle burns down, and light it for as long as you want during each day. Just as you're lighting it, be sure to extinguish it. Don't walk away from it. You want to sit there with it and just repeat those words each day as you sit with it and let it burn down a little bit. And again, those words are money to pay the bills, Manifest by my will. As that's burning, we are going to get some wax, and that will be the second part of this spell here, which is to make a charm, something that I learned from the author Kate Frohler. And for this, you will need 2 coins and some powdered cinnamon, and then the wax from the green candle. So again, you're going to imagine what it is that you want for this money. That could be the bills, the paying off debt, if you're saving up for something special or a vacation, and imagine what your life is going to look like when you have that money. So specifically for me, in my no spend year, I am wanting to attract money and save money, for the sake of the fact that we spent way too much on the home construction, but also we have plans to go to Disney World, and Disney World is very, very expensive. It's outrageous, that damn mouse. But we would like to go, and that involves saving some money. So that is what I am going to be thinking of to not only attract more money to me, but the money that's coming in to save that and know that there is a reason for this no spend year, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So this will help me save, to attract money and save it once I have got it. So we're letting this burn down, and then we will take the wax and drop it onto one side of the coin, doesn't matter which one, same on the other one. And while it is still wet, you are going to sprinkle a little bit of the cinnamon on there, and then take the 2 waxed sides and push them together so the cinnamon is in between, and then you will have this sort of 2-coin charm that's stuck together by the wax, and you want to put that in your wallet or your purse, whatever you carry around, and obviously don't spend it. This is your money charm to help you attract money and save it. So you can see on the candle it's starting to drip a little wax, especially if I turn it sideways. So we are just going to let that drip onto the coin and sprinkle some cinnamon. Gonna be messy, do it on a surface, and then dripping that same wax onto the other coin and making a little sandwich. So that's what it looks like when it's done. It hardens really quickly, so just, be careful to work fast, but then you can carry this around as your little money-saving charm. So that is everything for this week. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next week.